In this video, we're going to review today's performance with the trade copier. This is for the Forex Automated Trade Signals trade copier. We all know, if you've been trading for quite a while, that very often different currencies perform differently in some situations due to economic data and just, whatever the factors are going on with that particular currency. So when I first started trading, and I began trading back in 2001, I'll give you a little back history before I start with the total performance. Actually, the total performance today was 187 pips. This was with the trade copier. I executed these trades and managed each one of these trades, but I'll give you an idea of what I'm doing when I trade so that way, if you decide to use my trade copier, you know what you're getting involved in. When I first started trading, I was a little overwhelmed, just like everybody else is, when they first open up a chart and they have like four windows open, maybe the four majors. And I remember thinking in the beginning, when I would look at this and I would see all this activity, especially right around news events, I remember thinking, I can't wait for the day when this is normal for me, where I can look and process all of this information and not become overwhelmed by it. And of course, it takes a little bit of time to continue to do that. I only share that with you because if you are the right subscriber for this type of service, you know how challenging and how time consuming and how much focus you need to have when you've got multiple open positions like this, especially when you're managing them. You need to be aware of economic data. You need to be understanding the impact and the implications of that economic data, the announcements, revisions. Today was Non Farm Payrolls. We traded Non Farm Payrolls. Now, I can't do this every day. I can't always earn 187 pips. There are days when I can earn over 350 pips. But what I'm doing is I'm trading multiple currency pairs when my setup develops. When I first started opening up and sharing a lot of my strategies to the public, the general public, was back in 2007. I started trading in 2001, but in 2007 I opened up a chat room with a website and I made it available to everybody. Back then it was on Forex Factory. I had a bunch of subscribers from Forex Factory, and that was just basically a signal service. I called out trades in the chat room live, just like I'm talking to you now, and I would type in the entry, the take profit levels, the currency pairs. Inside of the chat room I would type in entry is, and then I would put in the take profit levels and then the stop loss levels. All of that was there. So I had over 50, 60, maybe even 100 different people at any given time in the chat room watching me and watching my performance. So what made me a lot of money as a Forex trader is not taking one trade at a time. With the old trade copier that I offered, the old service, I only took one trade at a time. And the reason is that most of my subscribers for that service, the old trade copier service, didn't understand money management. They didn't understand. They were inexperienced or beginners at best, or just struggling and not willing to learn past understanding leverage, lot sizing, money management, margin requirements, all of that. They just don't get it. And they overexpose capital. So if I had two trades and both of them went, let's say, negative, let's say that there's a retracement. Here's the euro dollar. The entry today that I called out was 1.1158. Well, this next candle went down as low as 53. Now, that's, let's just say, a 5 pip negative retracement before it went to the final target here. Let's say it went down minus 5 pips here, or even 10 pips. And then I took another trade on the pound dollar, and that one went minus 15 pips before going back up to its target. So now we're minus 25 to 35 pips. Now, you get where I'm going with this. If I had 4 open positions, and let's say all 4 of those trades ended up being minus, all combined, 60 pips, but I'm only using a stop loss of like 30 or 40 pips on each one. So each trade independently was fine. But the entire account would have been negative, let's say 50 or 60 pips. So if you don't know how to properly set up your exposure to capital, when I'm executing these trades and you're linking your account to my trade copier, if you don't understand these concepts, then this is the wrong service for you. Just stick with a service that only executes one trade at a time and won't open up another trade until the first trade is closed. That would be obviously for the novice and the people that are struggling with money management, lot sizing, things like that. But if you've been around if you've been around as a trader long enough to know that the way to make a lot of money is to protect capital and trade the opportunities when they present themselves, and not hesitate And that's what made me a lot of money. I had 5 open trades today with my trade copier service. I had a trade going long on the euro dollar, a trade going long on the the pound dollar. I sold the dollar Swiss and I sold the dollar yen, and I went long the pound yen. Now, I even considered trading the Australian dollar, but I just stopped there. And this one was a perfect T2 pattern, the dollar Canadian. So these are 2 additional trades that I could have taken, yet I skipped those because it was so active, and I was firing off all these trades with my trade copier, and I ended up with 187 pips. So this is the same behavior that I personally trade when I'm trading my own account. Now, one of the reasons sometimes I get the question, well, why don't you just put like 5 lots on the euro dollar? Because the euro dollar isn't always going to cover the distance that maybe one of these other currency pairs will, like the pound dollar. You can see the pound dollar blew right past every take profit level that I had set up, according to my system, but it just kept going. One of the reasons is, again, Non Farm Payrolls produced this result here on the euro dollar. Non Farm Payrolls produced this, let me get this here. Non Farm Payrolls produced this result here with the pound dollar. However, you've got to be prepared for occasionally, and this is what comes down to the timing, the market timing, and I talk about this quite a bit. Politicians and people who have the ability to influence, excuse me, price and the way we interpret that data, the markets, they know when non-farm payrolls is going to be released, 8:30 New York time. They know that if they have information that they want to share to the market, if they want to create an opportunity where the pound dollar is going to really push above some of these key resistance levels for the week, they know that they can release additional information about, let's say, Brexit, a politician, right after 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour after non-farm payrolls, and we can see a continued move just like this that goes even further than the way it impacted here on the euro dollar. That's why I take all of these trade opportunities whenever they line up, just like I'm supposed to, according to my trade system. And I've been doing this every single year, and it has made me millions of dollars as a result of doing this. You never really know when more information is going to come and hit the market with a particular pair. This was a perfect reversal pattern. It was the same thing as a T2 pattern, a Tech 1 trade, here on the pound dollar. Reversal, here's my reversal chart, the template that I talk about, and I teach everybody exactly what I'm doing. This is the same thing with the euro dollar, but the pound dollar covered a greater distance. Now, I'm not saying that it was because of Brexit or comments about Brexit, but what I'm saying is this is the reason why I make so much money. I take these opportunities and I manage these positions. I watch the news as my positions are opened, and I know that I can get more if I see more news about something like that. So I just laid out a scenario that typically happens but doesn't always happen. Dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss, I actually went short yesterday and closed it because it spiked up minus 15 pips before getting back in and selling it right here with the Tech 1 trade. So the Tech 1 trade, again, I picked up approximately 20 pips here, and this was non-farm payrolls. And I could see, again, reversal template, reversal, everything's helping me here. Same thing with the dollar yen. The dollar yen T2 pattern, just similar to what I was looking at with the dollar Canadian, but I didn't take the dollar Canadian today. Here's another 20 pips. Now with these two, and I mentioned this earlier today, it looks like these two are going to stall and they're not going to go to a second target. First target with an entry of 43. First target's a psychological level of 20. Sorry, I'm really excited. I'm trying to cover a lot of information here. Same thing with the dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss entry at approximately the 00. First target's the 80. Psychological level. I do this over and over again. These are not take profit levels that I've changed according to my system just to make it look good for this video. This is exactly what I do every day. However, I cannot make 180 or 190 or 200 pips every single day. I can only do that when the market provides the opportunity. But the way that I do that is exactly what I'm showing you here. Having 5 open multiple trades at the same time and managing them to their take profit target. This does not happen every day. And there are other times when I just have 2 trades open at one time, and other times I might have 1 trade open at one time. But if you're going to use the service, what I want to share with you and stress that you need to understand money management. You've got to be comfortable. This service is only beneficial for intermediate to advanced traders, meaning that you've got a few years, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and you understand lot sizing, leverage, money management. You understand the impact of having 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or even 5 trades opened at one time. And you understand that there's going to be some negative retracement on some of these trades before it continues to its take profit level. If you understand that and you're prepared for that and you understand how to adjust the lot sizing, because I can't control that for you, I'm just going to execute all these trades that I see, then I would say definitely use this service. If you're trading standard lots and I earn 2,000, 3,000 pips a month or 1,000 pips a month, you're probably going to end up with about $10,000 net, approximately, depending on, of course, which currency pairs we're trading and things. But on average, it's about 1,000, 2,000 pips a month. As a result of me having multiple trades like this, again, I can't do this every day, but I want to show you what I'm doing here. I used stop loss here that was about 20 to 30 pips. I used a stop loss here that was about 20 to 30 pips. I used a stop loss here that was about 12 pips, 13 pips. I used a stop loss here that was about 20 pips. And I used a stop loss here that was about 45 pips. So if you're prepared for that, again, I didn't get stopped out and the retracement wasn't that deep. This was the pound yen. Now the pound yen we know can cover a greater distance. Remember, I'm going to be trading the pound yen. So if you're fully conscious and aware of with the trades that I'm taking, and that's why I'm sharing with you these trades, I want you to know the impact. I want you to see so that you can calculate that. If you don't understand how it's going to have an impact on your capital and your account, then do not use this service. Use a service that only executes one trade at a time. This is what is making my subscribers who use this particular trade copier service a lot of money. $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month as a result of using this service. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. It really depends on how much money you have available inside of your trading account and the fact that you have experience 2, 3, 4, 5 years and you completely understand lot sizing, leverage, money management, margin. You understand that. You should not ask other people what you should be trading based on how much money you have. You should be talking to your broker. That's what I recommend. Talk to your broker. Let them tell you what you should be using. They set up your account. They set the maximums and minimums and limits and things like that on your account. And it's best for them to give you the information. It's best that they educate you. Thank you very much for watching this presentation. 187 pips today. I executed each one of these trades with the trade copier. I execute these trades. I manage these positions. None of these trades were in jeopardy of hitting their stop loss. They all worked perfectly. It was non-farm payrolls that produced the opportunity. And very often it is economic data, usually during the New York session, that I prefer to trade. However, I am trading during the Asian and London session. Remember, I might have one trade open. I might have 2 trades open at a single time. I might even have 3 trades open at a single time. I don't do that every day. Not every day provides that opportunity. And on days like this, I might have 5 trades opened. I understand that there's going to be pullbacks when I'm in the trade before it moves to its take profit level. And I manage that and I calculate that. That's what allows me to make as much money as I do. And again, I want you to get maximum results and benefit from this trade copier service. I'm going to trade exactly the way I trade my personal account. Not like the previous trade copier service where I execute just one trade. This is for the trader who has experience and wants to make as much money as possible using this service.